If you're a rock singer who's been desperately trying to build and create a chesty mix voice, a thicker, fuller, beefier, more powerful sound in your mid to upper range, but nothing you've tried thus far has actually helped you sing fuller when you sing real songs, right? You've tried yawning before you sing, you've tried lowering your tongue, you've tried opening your mouth as much as possible and getting space in the back, you've tried holding your breath, you've tried pushing down the power push compression, all this stuff, you've tried taking chest voice as high as you can in vocal exercises, and none of it's actually helping you, right? This video is for you. Now, I personally don't like or use the term chesty mix in any of my training or even in my own singing. It's not what I'm aspiring to. It's really not what your favorite singers are going for, right? Steven Tyler, Lane Staley, Chris Cornell, Paul Rogers, insert your favorite singer. They're not going for registration when they're going for those full notes in the high range, right? This term really gives you the impression it's all about registration. Chest voice good, head voice bad, like we're Neanderthals, right? It's all about vocal fold closure, which is much less exciting, I realize, right? If someone says to you, well, don't you want a chesty mix? And you're like, of course, I don't want a falsetto-y mix, right? Vocal fold closure, much less exciting, right? So if I'm singing something, right? There's no time to keep it low. I've been deaf, now I want noise. You stay down, but I won't be quiet. Hammer on until you find love. This kind of fuller sound in your higher range, right? It kind of sounds like chest voice, right? This doesn't come from singing in chest voice. I'm not really singing in chest voice there. That's way too high for me to be singing. That's kind of outside the realm of my voice in a natural sense, right? I'm really not using chest voice to get there, right? So how am I doing this? How am I getting this full sound, right? So if we take a really light sound, it's a really, really light sound, right? You can do this higher if your voice is higher. That's totally fine, right? What we want to do is take that small sound and basically crescendo it into a fuller sound. You're going to use your support and you're going to bring your vocal folds together. They're the two main things you're going to feel, right? Right? It's very, very, very simple. Now, what I'm not doing is going and really flicking the switch on. It's basically a gradient. Getting this control is one of the most important things you're ever going to develop as a singer. I think it's something that a lot of people take for granted in their singing voice. This is something that a lot of natural singers do real well for whatever reason. It's something I spent years developing. So it's something that even in some cases I can take for granted and be like, hey, look, it's all about your vowels and all about this and that and the other thing. But on a fundamental level, you need to learn how to close your vocal folds in the right way, in an efficient way for singing and be in control of that, right? You don't want to close the lid on the bottle and choke off, but you also don't want to be singing right on the edge of the vocal fold, right? Now, if you're a total beginner singer, and the way you want to do this is actually going for a glottal stop in the center of the exercise, in between the sounds, right? It's not how you sing. It's not what you want to work towards. Don't quote me on saying that that's how you should sing. You should absolutely not hold your breath or do anything like that when you sing songs, right? But when we're doing this exercise, so that you get the sensation of closing the vocal folds versus actually having closure when you're singing, plus that sensation outwards. I've got the folds closed in between the exercise, right? What you really want to work towards, and for you intermediate to advanced singers, basically you want to start with your vocal folds open, right? Helps if I hit the right notes in the guitar, right? Doesn't really matter. Right? Basically getting that closure, the swell of closure is the key to actually having your chesty mix, right? Not that I like that term, right? You got two comments for me. Number one, that's not very high. Number two, that's not a chesty mix, right? So I took classical training for years, and it's something, this is kind of an exercise, the mezzo di voce thing is something that I had people trying to make me do at a A4 and a C5, stuff that was well out of my range. And it really wasn't great for my voice at the time in hindsight. It was something they just pushed me to do, and they'd get annoyed with me because I couldn't fucking do it, right? It's not about doing this on every single note you're ever going to sing. It's really not, all right? Learning to sing is not about strength training. People are going to associate this like, okay, well, let's strength train the voice. It's actually all about neural connection. It's all about muscle memory, right? You do this positive habit enough times in the right way, in a controlled way, you develop basically a string of neurons that fire when you sing. Then you can branch off and do other stuff like mixed voice and compression and all this other crazy stuff people get you to do. And you're going to get that good closure behind it, basically firing in the background. You're going to forget all about it at a certain point, but it's going to be there, right? That's what singing's all about, basically stacking on those connections, right? We develop this basic fundamental level. We, kind of have the walls of the house. We kind of have the roof, that kind of stuff, right? In terms of the chesty mixing, this is actually how you go for it. So when I'm changing pitch, maybe you'll hear this. Maybe you'll hear this now, right? There's no. That's just vocal fold closure. I'm not going, there's no, and pushing up my chest voice in the way that you've probably been trying to, right? There's no time to keep it low. Right? You're hearing it now, right? This is how we use it in a practical sense, right? So really, I'm changing register. I'm moving towards head voice. Probably doesn't sound like it. Maybe it does. I'm not holding onto chest voice and dragging it up. There is some of the body of the vocal fold which is overlapped there, and it vibrates and creates that fuller tone you're looking for. You're kind of barking up the wrong tree by looking at registration. It's all about vocal fold closure. Try out that closure exercise, the little swell. You do it wherever you want. Don't do it too high. Just do it really, really comfortably in a comfortable range. You don't have to do this at a G5 to be able to sing, a Soundgarden song, right? You don't have to actually do that, right? It's all about muscle memory, right? And then recalling that when you sing. When you actually go for a higher pitch, instead of trying to, keep it in chest voice, just go for what's natural. The point that you're at as a singer within your registration, whether you're chest voice, mixed voice, head voice, whatever, it doesn't matter at a certain point, right? It really doesn't matter at a certain point. What you need is vocal fold closure to get that full sound. That's really what I'm going for in the high notes, and you're now going to hear it, right? You'll hear it in your favorite singers. You're going to hear it in my singing. I'm basically doing that almost crescendo thing on all my high notes. You just probably haven't noticed it before, right? I've been calling this door number 3 in the last couple of videos that I've done, basically looking at singing from a different perspective, right? Someone says, chesty mix, right? I'm saying vocal fold closure, right? These are two seemingly unrelated things, right? You're barking up the wrong tree in most cases, right? Same thing as pitch. If you've got a pitch issue, it's likely you really have a vowel issue, and you're not working on vowels. You're doing tons of pitching exercises and you're not getting any better, right? Because your pitch and your vowel are ultimately derived from the same frequency. Change one, you've got to change the other, right? So you're going to do those pitching exercises and then you're still going to suck at singing in pitch in songs. It's basically door number 3, right? You've tried weekly singing lessons, you've done some vocal courses, you've done the YouTube loop, and it's just not helping you, right? Where do we go to from here? If you are serious about working with me and you want to take your voice to a professional level and have this same level of control, there's a link down below where you can reach out and get in contact with me. I'm going to ask you some questions though, right? Number 1, why are you putting yourself through this? What are you actually working towards, right? It's something I definitely lost sight of through many years of vocal training. It stopped being about, all I wanted to do was sing a Rose Tattoo song. All I wanted to do was sing a Soundgarden song, right? It then ended up becoming about mixed voice and becoming about Appoggio and Squillo and all these different things people had thrown at me. I totally lost sight of it. So in a perfect world, tell me what your goal is. What would you love to be doing right now if all of this was easy and you could sing whatever the hell you wanted, right? Number 2, put a full stop at the end of it. If you've got an open-ended goal, it's going to be an open-ended experience, just like it was for me. I didn't really have a time frame. I didn't really have a goal, but I didn't even have a time frame. So it just kept being open-ended. What do you want me to do next? Oh, I'd like you to book more lessons with me. That kind of thing. And finally, what's actually going on, right? So we've discovered today and in the last couple of videos on the channel, go and check them out if you haven't watched them. Quite often, the problem that I present to you is not the solution that I present to you for that problem. Again, pitch issue, vowel. Chesty mix, vocal fold closure. Support, exhale, right? This is door number 3 as a singer. There's a link down below to get in contact with me if you're serious about working with me and you want to take your singing to a professional level. Most importantly, hit that subscribe button so we can keep breaking the vocal paradigm.